Hey, everybody, what is up? Ashleigh Mayfield. I am so excited. Welcome to April's edition of the Boom Zoom. If you are unfamiliar with the Boom Zoom, my name is Ashleigh Mayfield. I have been at Bravenly Global for just over 5 months now. I'm a vice president, and I have the honor of bringing some very raw, direct leadership training your way. So if you love raw, if you love direct, if you love get rid of the fluff, get rid of beating around the bush, and just shoot straight. Drop a flame in the chat below, drop a flame in the comments below. This is for you. So I've done two other Boom Zooms. You can go back and look in Impact Nation. They're also on my YouTube. But I'm all about personal growth. I am all about personal transformation. I love helping take people to the next level. And it's never calling you out, it's always calling you higher. Amen. How many of you guys want to go higher? How many of you guys want to advance? How many of you guys want to shatter your ceiling or reach your next level? That's what I'm all about. And so tonight, I'm super excited. We are going to have an incredible topic on how to get your team to work. How many of you are new to leadership? You have been in leadership and you're looking for some different tactics. Drop a one in the comments. How many of you just want to take your leadership to the next level? Or how many of you are looking forward to developing your leadership? That's one of the things I absolutely love about network marketing. I love about this industry, and I mostly love about Bravenly is you can truly come as you are, and you do not have to have all your ducks in a row. Amen. But one thing I know, it's really a dichotomy. Anyone can come in and they can make 5 figures a month, but anyone can come in and make 5 figures a month. Okay. And so leading a team is super important. And when you have a team, you obviously want them to work, right? Has anybody had a thriving team at any point in their business? I can tell you, I have an incredible team now. I've been here, like I said, just over 5 months. And for 9.5 years. Next month will be my 10th anniversary in this industry. And for 9.5 years, who put their name as Ashleigh Mayfield? I love you. That's so funny. I see it right there. Except I think there's an R in it, but that's okay. We love you, friend. Who are you? Fun times. But I spent 9.5 years in my first company, and I can tell you, I've always loved leadership. I had a team and an organization that took me from the rank of, I don't have all of our names memorized. I'm learning, okay? But it took me from the equivalent of 20,000 volume. I had four girls. We locked arms. They took me from 20,000 volume to over 300,000 volume in about 13 months. Okay. Let me tell you how fun it was having someone run with you. Okay. Let me tell you how fun it was. And it wasn't just those four. It was like they brought some and I brought some, and it was some on some on some. And it was like full momentum, okay? And that's a blessing, that's a gift. And I want to break down from a leadership perspective how you can get there. Because let me tell you what's fun. When you have a team that's leaned in, when you have a team that's thriving and winning, and they're paying off debt, they're changing their families' lives. They're able to say yes. They're happy. They're growing. They want to show up. They want to take notes. There is nothing more fun about that. Okay. But have you ever been on the other end of the spectrum? I've had those moments in my business, my friends, where you're like, is anybody there? Is anybody out there? Drop a two below if you're like, is anybody with me? Can it echo? You're like, Marco, and there's no polo. Okay. And it's like all your leaders want to quit on the same day. Okay. I mean, I really just think in network marketing, if you don't think about quitting once a month, you're not working your business good enough. Okay. Because this is kind of crazy. But what I want to teach you tonight is from a leadership perspective, from a leadership standpoint, how can you get your people to work? And I'm going to be this is when I start transitioning. And so if you're not familiar with the Boom Zoom, I'm going to get very direct. And then I try to save the last 15 to 20 minutes for any questions you might have. So if you have questions along the way, please write that down, and we'll spend a little bit of time at the end, and we can just do rapid fire Q&A. I love, love, love doing that. But this is the point where I start transitioning my Ashleigh Mayfield hat. I put my Mario leader hat on. I have a Mario that spits fire that's been with me for like 7 years now. And there's a phrase that I cannot stand. And the phrase is this, and we say it all the time in leadership. And I feel like we justify and we excuse, ourselves when we say it. But we like to say this phrase, You can bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Drop a me in the chat if you've ever said that or you've ever heard it. Okay. And it's always around leadership. It's like, well, you can da 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 da, but you can't make them work. You can't make them work. I don't know. I kind of think you can. I like to ask people, is your water clean? If your water's not clean, horses aren't going to come around and want to drink. If there's not other horses around the watering trough, you're not going to have fresh horses and new horses want to come, right? I think it's a leader's job to understand the mindset of people and the culture of people. Therefore, you create an environment where horses actually want to come and drink. I don't know, call me crazy, right? But I think that's what leadership is. And so tonight, I want to be able to break that down because it's really easy to sit back and say, oh, this business, it's just a numbers game. It's just a numbers game. Well, yes and no. Yes and no. It's a numbers game once you have effective systems. It's a numbers game once you have effective routine. It's a numbers game once you've developed some consistency. But no, if you think that going out and messaging 60 people to get one sale, going and talking to 60 brand partners to get one person to say yes, I would say that's pretty astronomical numbers. Now we've got to look at effectiveness, right? And so I actually want to stop and reverse engineer because I can just sit here and spit to you how to get people to work, how to get people to show up and lean in. But we really have to start at start because your team showing up and just doing tasks and just putting the smile on their face, that's like the end goal. That's not how we start. Do you know how we start? I'm going to give you some things. We're going to break it down. So first, you need to inspect what you expect. If you expect people that you recruit to lean in, to work, to want to show up, to go after their goals, then if you expect that, then you have to inspect how you're recruiting. Drop the word recruiting in the comments. Okay? Because how you recruit matters. Now, this is not a recruiting Zoom. I'm not going to break down, in depth. Maybe we can do that another time together, friends. Okay. But if you expect people to work, if you expect people to lean in, then and show up, then you have to inspect exactly how you recruit. And I can tell you, there is one phrase that we like to toss around in network marketing, and I am not poo-pooing on it. How many of you, this business has changed your life? Can you just drop a me in the chat? You're like, no, Mayfield, like I can tell you, like this business has changed my life. Yesterday, 8 years ago, we went completely debt free. We paid off $63,801.99 in debt in a 6-month period. And that was Jesus, literally, because our plan was 12 months. And I'm telling you, when you're a good steward of the little that God has put in your hand, he truly can trust you with much. This industry has changed the trajectory of my entire being, of my husband, of our mindset. I am ever grateful that there is a place for Ashleigh Mayfield, as weird, as quirky, as bold and driven as she is, that I can use my God-given gifts. However, we toss around this phrase that we are hope dealers. Has anybody heard that phrase? Guys, we're just hope dealers. Okay, yes and no, friends. I don't know if anyone has held your hand and told you this, so I'm going to look into all your beautiful eyes, and I'm going to tell you, you do sales. When did sales get weird? You're not the icky sticky sales lotion guy in the mall trying to rub lotion and you're like, I don't want your herpesiphylitis lotion. Like you got an STD floating around in that bottle somewhere, babe. You touching everybody and their mama and their dog. Okay. No, but my friends, you do sales. And the sooner that you can posture yourself in that, the sooner you can handle that objection in your dome, the better you're going to recruit. Because it's when we don't understand and we don't want to receive this idea that we do sales that we start marketing in really weird ways. Yes and amen, Pamela. Do not touch me. I will French kiss that wall to get away from you. I'll be like, I'll be against the wall. Don't even look in my direction. Okay. Don't breathe. Okay. But when we understand that we do sales, I promise you it makes recruiting so much better. And if you want a team that works, you need to understand that you do sales. And sales doesn't have to be weird. It doesn't have to be profit driven. It doesn't have to be anything. In fact, I don't think this is a numbers game. I think this is a people business. We're in a people business. Amen. And so when you understand that you do sales, you can show up and market different online. So, what are some ways that you really want to market to get people that want to win? Well, number one, how many of you would consider yourself a winner? You're a hard worker, you're a high achiever, you're going to do whatever it takes to get the job done. Okay. Yes, I'm loving all these yeses. Would you join someone that you have to guess if they have a business? Would you join someone if they don't look like they're winning? Would you join someone if you're like, are they making money? You probably wouldn't. So it makes sense the sooner you understand that you're in sales, if you want people that are driven, if you want people that are workers, if you want people that hustle, which I love hustle, I love that gift. And that's a skill that is perishable. If you're not building the hustle muscle, it can go away, right? And so when you're in a position where you understand how to market, you want to share your wins online. Some of you are mass customer enrolled. I'm like, I could never. I could never sign the amount of customers you do. I could never get the club cash that you do, my friends. And you don't tell a single soul about it. And then you turn around and wonder why no one on your team wants to work. They don't know how hard you're working. They don't know the wins that you have. Okay. And so it's so important that you're sharing your wins online. You need to show that you are making money. You need to show how you're making money. You need to show where you're making money. You need to show what you're using the money on, and obviously keep everything compliant. But my God, friends, it's who, what, where, when, why, and how with the money. Who is the money helping? Why are you getting the money? That's all you got to do is recycle who, what, where, when, why, and how. It's not difficult, right? But you need to show the money. You got to posture yourself as a hard worker, as someone that knows how to lead. And listen, fake it till you make it, faith it till you make it. We spiritualize everything. Okay. Just the thing is the disposition has to come before the position. That's it. That's all it is. You have to see it in here. You have to see a winning team. You have to see a thriving team. You have to see a hardworking team before the hardworking team shows up. But it's an overflow of how you market. And let me tell you this, if you are online and you market quick money, does anyone want to make $2,000 a month? You're going to get every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the world that wants to make $2,000 a month, but they don't want to do sales. And so if you market quick money, guess what you're getting? People that are quickly quitting because they didn't realize it came with a price tag of sacrifice and hard work because you made it look easy, right? And so this is why it's so crucial that we're not only showing people the money, yes, people need to see that you're making money and you can do that compliantly. But people also need to know your mission. You need to market your mission. Is your mission paying off debt? Is your mission helping stay-at-home mamas? Is your mission helping women who love their job, but they need to supplement? Amen. How many of you guys know jobs ain't paying like jobs used to pay? Okay. And so maybe it's supplemental income. It doesn't matter. But when we just market, is anyone looking for an online job? Is anyone looking for an extra $2,000 a month? I'm sorry, but that's not all. When we talk about having a team that works, do you think that's going to get them to work? No, there's no emotional attachment. They think it's quick money. And that's why people bounce from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing because they're looking for the quick fix and they don't realize it's a developmental thing. Okay. And so the most important thing is if you want a team that works, again, we're reverse engineering, is you need to inspect what you expect. If you expect people to work, do you show that you work online? If you expect to get people that hustle or people who are committed, people who push through, do you push through? Do you market when you go through the valleys of life, but you stay committed? Or do you have a network that sees you start on the first of the month and then life happens and you throw in the towel until the ninth? And then you see prelims and you're like, ah, and then you dip again. Why would you get a hustler if you're not hustling? If every time life happens, you keep starting over, why would you get someone that perseveres? Does this make sense? So it's so important that you're reverse engineering. The queen is on. All hail, Miss Brittany Harper. We love you. But it makes sense that you would reverse engineer. And so this is why you must be growing. If you want a team, baby, the team you have is a reflection of who you are. You don't get what you desire, you get what you reflect. Amen. And so it's so crucial that you're marketing, and it's like rowing a boat. Don't think you need to perfect yourself before you can get people. You're in a process. And so Ashleigh Mayfield is constantly growing herself while she's getting higher level leaders. It's a process. You're constantly in the boat rowing, and you do both of these at the same time. Because if you say, no, 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 Ashleigh Mayfield said I got to work on myself. Well, that's not what Ashleigh Mayfield said. But if you say that, then all you're going to be doing is using one oar. And guess what? If you only use one oar in a boat, where do you go, baby? In circles. Oh, you don't get nowhere. And if you're like, well, I don't need to grow, I can just market quick. Okay. And that's why you're going in circles and you're taking a lot of energy and going nowhere because you're marketing quick money. And so the moment people don't see quick money, the moment you actually tell them they have to do work, they dip. It's because of that. We must inspect what we expect. Okay, that's number one. Number two, let's talk quickly just about a launch process. Okay, and some people can't lead a team and get their team to work because they don't even know what to do with them. And I just want to ask a simple yes or no question. If you had 10 people right now in 1 hour that all signed up on your website, and they messaged you, I'm in, I joined, I'm in, I'm joined. What do I do? What's my first step? Would you know what to do with those 10 people? Would you know this is what I need to do? This is what I need to do. This is what I need to do. Maybe 5 people. What if you had 5 people? Would you know what to do? Okay. And so this is important that if you want a team that is leaned in, that is working, that you have a solid process that you put them through. That is what leaders do. Now, one thing I'm so grateful for in Impact Nation is we have this beautiful onboarding process. And how many of you guys use that process? I use it with every single one of my newbies. But how many of you guys know launching someone is so much more than just tagging them and say, let me know when you're done. Let me know if you have any questions. You want to know the most toxic phrase you can ever say in sales? Let me know. Say that one more time around me. I tell my team, break up with that saying. Don't say let me know around me. Let me know. Just let me know if you're interested. Just let me know when you're ready to join. Let me know when you're done with onboarding. Let me know. Heifer, no one's letting you know nothing. Your job is to be proactive. Your job is to be up their butt. Okay. And so break up with this. Let me know. But it's crucial that you, as a leader, do not allow, hear my heart. This is a boom zoom. I'm shooting straight with y'all. You do not allow the new person to lead their launch process. Because what happens? Well, I'm going to do it once I get my product. No, I actually just want to try the products first. And then what do they say? Well, I haven't been on them long enough to get results. And then what do they say? Well, I just actually want to grow my network first. And next thing you know, you have set a culture in place of waiting. Oof, who's done that? Let's be honest. I might have done that 9 or 8 years ago. Okay. That's how I know. Y'all think I'm coming with you from the mountain. Heifer, I'm coming from the valley. Okay. I'm clawing my way through the valley. Okay. All right. And so we do these things and we give the keys to the car to our brand new brand partner. And then we look around and we're wondering where they're at. Baby, you are always in the driver's seat. Drop in the chat. I am the captain of my ship. You are the captain. You are at the helm. You're not giving that job away. You are in control. You are driving their launch process. And so that doesn't mean I'm going to go tag them in 50, 1100 things and say, let me know when you're done. No, it means I'm going to give you step one. And then I'm going to give you step two when step one is done. And then I'm going to give you step three when step two is done. We're going to do this. right? And so you want to make sure that you have, this is just my personal leadership, you want to make sure you have a 3 or 5 step launch process. Hey, what's the first thing that you do with them? We don't want to overwhelm our new people. We're tagging. Okay, there's a lot, you guys. When I left my former company, I knew I wanted to be within the top of the top, the creme de la creme. I knew. And when I heard about these sisters, I got on the phone with Aspen. She's like, there's these sisters. Let's sign up under the sisters, okay? Sign me up. And so I'm so grateful I'm with Kara Heinzler, who's direct to Adrian. And because of them, how many of you guys love the systems they have? But guess what? The dichotomy of having incredible systems that are well stocked, you do not have to think, you do not have to create, you do not have to redo it, is there's a lot. And they have been here, what, 2 years now? They have 2 years of wisdom and incredible knowledge and systems. And it can be a little much at first, especially if we're hitting people with everything. We're getting them into the daily sip, and then we're getting them into I'm so sorry, I don't remember, but the new name of the brand partner group. I can't keep up myself. And we're getting them in Impact Nation and we're tagging them in onboarding. And then they got to get into Bravenly Nation. And then we got to make sure that they're on the once a month shout out Zoom because we got to get them inspired and we got to get here and we got to here. And then blah, blah, blah. It's a lot, right? And so we have to remember we can't shoot our brand new brand partners with this fire hose and overwhelm them, right? And so it's so crucial. We have a step 1, step 2, step 3. Okay. And it could be very simple. Like step 1 is get them in your community chat and welcome them. Get them plugged into community. That could be step 1. Step 2, help them get their launch post up. You don't need your products to do either of those. Okay. And I will give you an example. I had a new girl who, ever since I came over here at the end of October, she's been talking to me and just for whatever reason, didn't have the funds. Obviously, we always market when we go out of town. My husband always tells me if I'm not recruiting or no one wants to join me, he's like, Ashleigh, go drive around the block because when you leave the house and you market it, people, you guys, some of you are standing at the same spot in your same kitchen, the same angle, and people like need to see spice in your life. So praise God, got invited to this Orlando leadership. She sees me rocking at Disney. Girl, send me your link. Okay. We're in line at the Haunted Mansion. I said, send me my link. Well, she couldn't join till the next day when I was driving home, but that's okay. She jumped in. And I was like, I'm so excited. Let's get you our first step. I told her the first step. The next day I check in with her. I said, here's the first step. Tell me when you're done. She didn't tell me, right? And so I check in with her and I said, hey, where are you at with that step? And she said, I'm actually going to wait until I get my products. Well, let me tell you what I'm going to say. Just kidding. I sent her a voice memo and I said, hey, I love that plan and I think that's great. However, I want you to know that you've told me that you have bounced around, that you have had great success in other companies, and now I have the honor of leading you. And one thing that I will tell you is that I have a proven launch system, and I put everybody through this, and I have seen great success and results. And so I'm going to actually pass the ball back to you. You joined me because you want to make money, and my launch process helps make money. So let me ask you this. Do you want to do it your way, or would you like to do it my way? That's it, guys. It was that simple. I sent her a voice memo. I It was very direct, it was very kind, but I gave her, hey, ball's in your court now. We're playing tennis. We're ping ponging, we're dancing. All right, I led. Now, do you want to lead? Do you know how to do this? But sometimes we won't just address it. And she was like, you're right. Okay. And then like an hour later, I was at my church helping something. And so I didn't get that message. And then so she said, you're right. And then like an hour later, she's like, I made my post. Do you want to go read it? You guys, and she'll probably watch the replay and hi girl, I love you, but isn't that the truth in leadership? Right? Like, don't let them drive the launch process. And it's really easy, but I am telling you, I will stand 10 toes down on how I talk to my customers, on how I recruit my brand partners, on how I launch, because what you're not going to do is make me go crazy. I'm not going to chase rabbits all over. Where am I at? Where am I at? No, no, no. It's a simple 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I taught it at stage at conference, pro product pursue. Pro product pursue. And when you lock into a system, you operate in a level of flow. And I'm going to tell you, if you want team that is making five figures, how many of you want that? Drop a yes in the chat. Making five figures, making four figures, making three figures a month. They're getting their, 29,000% club points. I can't keep up with it all, but they're doing all the things. If you want a team that is winning, then you want a team that is working. And if you want a team that is working, that means you need to help people launch. And if you want to be effective at launching, you need to get good at recruiting. And if you want to get good at recruiting, you got to get good at handling objections. That's why I'm reverse engineering all this. Okay. So that's number two. Number one, inspect what you expect. Number two is the launch process. You need to know, okay, what are the three things I'm going to be? And guess what? Step three is for me. I tag them in Impact Nation onboarding. Hey, here's our onboarding. It's going to equip you with everything that you need. It can be a little overwhelming. Let's just chip away at it together over the next few days. You guys, it's not, we don't need to make sure they go watch a million Zooms on night one. Now, you might have some people that want to watch a million Zooms on night one, and you got to be careful with those people because you got to protect them from themselves, right? Because then they want to start watching everything and know everything, and now they're not taking action. Growth, action. We want to do those both at the same time. Okay. Number three is let's get to the work. Let's get to the work. Okay. Yes, Melissa. And we about to talk about color personality because y'all know I love color personality. All right. Clear daily tasks. I am here to report live, boots on the ground journalism. Most people are not lazy. I know. I know. We want to quickly think that everybody who doesn't order from us is a hater. We want to think that people who quit just don't want it good enough, hard enough. They're not willing to work for it. And the people who aren't leaned in, well, they're just lazy. Can I just tell you that most people want their life to change? Most people are not lazy. It's that they don't have clarity around their goal or what they should be doing. I'm telling you, in most cases, it's both, right? And so sometimes instead of having this negative assumption about people, I think this is the power of personal development and taking ownership of our lives. Let's look in the mirror and say, am I giving people a clear path? If I had someone ask me how to make $500, would I give them? Do I know two to three different ways to make $500? If someone asked me, what are the top tasks you're doing? Would I know what to tell them or would I sound like a buffoon going all over the place? Right. And so we have to look in the mirror and say, am I doing what I should as the leader? Okay. I hope that makes sense. And so instead of assuming negative, let's assume positive intent. I read that one time 4 or 5 years ago and it changed my life. When you assume, it's just one of those things I read that stuck with me. When you assume positive intent about people, maybe that person that honked at you in traffic, maybe they were rushing late to work. Maybe that person that didn't say thank you when you held the door open for them, they got a phone call that there was an emergency. The people who open my messages and don't respond, I'm not like, oh, they're ghosting me. Everyone's ghosting me. I'm not being dramatic. Oh my gosh, they're just so excited. They forgot to respond. Oh my gosh, I bet they got busy at work. No big deal. I'm going to message them tomorrow. I'll follow up with them tomorrow. Assume positive intent. So let's do that about our distributors. Now, if you're in a position where you've gone through a lot of brand partners, if I say distributors, I apologize. That's old verbiage. I'm still learning. But if you've been someone who has gone through a lot of brand partners, I want to encourage you tonight, make a decision that you will not hold your future brand partners hostage based on what's happened in the past. We can have so much, but everybody I launched quits, but everybody says they want it and they don't show up. Do not hold your future brand partners, your future life change, your future success hostage based on what's happened in the past. We get to look in the mirror and we get to be leaders and we get to take extreme ownership of our organization and say, what role do I play in this? I've had to do that all the time. Okay. All the time. Won't even say some of the time. Okay. And so here's what I can tell you when it comes to doing the work. You might be intrinsically wired to take action. I have an entire color personality training I can do. I want to write a book on this junk one day. Okay. I'm in the process of redoing my website so I can put my own color personality on there and I can provide resources. This stuff runs through my veins. I have studied this for almost 9 years. Okay. It has changed me on a human level, and that's another story for another day. But what I can tell you is if you are predominantly a red personality or a green personality, hear me out. I'm not saying that yellows and blues don't have this. That's not what I'm saying. Typically, reds and greens are intrinsically wired for progression, for motion forward, for movement. Okay. Typically, yellows and blues have to be externally motivated. Reds and greens have this internal drive. Typically, if you defy the odds, you're a queen or a king. Okay. With that being said, I like to touch on this because it's so crucial. Because as someone who's like 60% red, what do we do when we recruit a new brand partner? I'm going to tag you on all the things. All right, let's go to work. Where are they at? I want it. Why don't they want it? I'm working. Why aren't they working? I'm going to do the thing I say I'm going to do. Why aren't they doing it? I see the vision. Why don't they see the vision? How many of y'all have ever said that? Okay. And so it's easy, this expectation that we can put on people. Now, expectations are not wrong. I don't care what scientific personal development guru, don't have expectations. No, no, no. Uncommunicated expectations are where you get in trouble. I think people like expectations. I think people like to know what's expected of them, but it's when you don't communicate it, right? And so, well, Kate, when I make my own, I would recommend mine, of course. But reds can be that way. Now, greens can also be a similar vein. Well, I told them, so they got it. Okay, but when did you tell them? 3 weeks ago when they joined? And you haven't checked in on them? They haven't needed anything. They haven't come to me. I told them. Okay. And so typically we've got to be careful with that. Now, again, some people are wired that way. You just turn on, you'll do whatever it takes. I see Kara is on. I'm so grateful. And when I start talking about the combos, a red yellow combo, listen, don't be messing with the Kara Heinzler. Okay. That girl, psycho when it comes to doing work. She probably doesn't know how to sit still. Okay. Always working. And, but just some people are not wired that way. And here's what I know. People join this business because they need money. Everybody needs money. Okay. Wealthy people want more money. People in poverty want money. But not everybody is willing to work for the money. And so, as a leader, our job is to start learning how can we understand people. If we want to move an organization, if you want to make $2,000 a month, you need to start understanding people. Now, here's the fun part. You didn't sign up for that, did you? You didn't sign up to be a counselor. You didn't sign up to be a psychologist, did you? You didn't sign up to understand what intrinsic values motivate people. But guess what? That's the price it comes. Because the price of making $2,000 out in corporate America might be a bachelor's degree, might be an associate's degree, or having a trade, right? The price here is getting really good with people. And this is part of emotional intelligence. And in leadership, we don't talk about it enough because people matter. And this is where you've got to be weary of people who just act like robots, or it's like task, 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 task. People aren't robots. People are people. Okay. And so you didn't sign up for that. But if you want, and here's what I'm going to tell you, and this is what you need to just tattoo on your heart, my friend. If you want life-changing money, it comes with the responsibility of changing a lot of lives. What an honor. What an honor that in order for you to make $2,000 a month, you get to help people make 200. What an honor. If you want life-changing money, it comes with the responsibility of changing a lot of lives. And so I've read an incredible book where it talks about how there are 27 different motivating factors that drive people. And I do not have all the time in the world, nor y'all, there's not a thought behind these eyes. Sometimes she's cute, but she don't think. So I'm not going to regurgitate that, but I stick to what I know, which is the color personality, red, blue, yellow, and green. And what I can tell you is that When you are looking at people and you're understanding people, if you want to help reds are typically driven by title, status, power. They like recognition. It's so crucial that in your organization, in addition to doing tasks, that you are understanding how to help a red climb the ranks. You are letting them know, hey, this is how we get to 400. This is how simple it is. You could probably double promote in your first month. You can get to 1,000 if you're a go-getter like my girl Katrina coming in and she triple promoted in her first 30 days. And guess what? She's got a girl underneath her who's probably going to triple promote this month. Why? Because birds of a feather flock together. Amen. Okay. We love that. Go girl. But reds are typically driven by title, status, and power. And so when you connect the dots, because when you want to get to a point where your team is working, you're a dot connector. Okay, that's your job. You've promoted to just being a fisherman to being a dot connector. And you're there to connect the dots between how someone is driven, what tasks they need to do to reach the goal. Okay. And so when you connect how doing the tasks help them rank up, they feel inspired to move. Okay. Blues are typically driven by fun, by FOMO. I'm like 30% blue. And funny, even though I'm 60% red, it's my blue that drives me. Okay. I love exclusivity. I like having things and being a part of things that it's very exclusive. I have the honor of being a part of Adrian's retreat this weekend. There was like 7 people that qualified. That lights me up. I love that. And because I worked hard for it, so I'm going to brag on myself for a second, right? But that drives me. That lights me up. You can put a $50,000 bonus in front of me, and my husband wish it really drove me. He's like, why doesn't the money get you? I'm like, I don't know. But so that's like, you need to know how you're driven. So guess what the company has right now? They have an incredible cruise to the Bahamas that you can qualify for. And so when you have people that are like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have went to Disney. I wish I would have went to Adrian's. I wish blah, 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 blah. You can say, girl, we got a cruise, right? And everything you do right now helps you qualify for the cruise by June 30th. And in fact, how many of you are going to be qualifying for that cruise? Drop a 5 in the comments below, okay? I know I am. Hey, Glenn, good to see you on. I know 50,000 might. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, it might. It might turn me on a little bit. So when you connect the dots of how they don't like being left out and they like having fun and they've got the ability through hard work to get fun, there's a higher probability they're going to be inspired to move. What about yellows? Yellows are super driven by community. Yellows are driven by not being alone, right? They value community. When you get them on the work Zoom, when you get them plugged into the team chat, when you get them around other people. And let me say this, leaders, when you share your goal with your team, that does something for your yellows. Yellows might not work to change their situation, but they value being a part of something bigger than themselves. And I had a really hard time. I got to the rank of what would be considered executive vice president in my previous company until that was the first time that I shared my team what my goal was or our team goal was because I felt like I was being selfish. Anybody else ever felt that way? Just drop a me in the chat if you've ever felt like, oh, I don't want to tell my team. I'll feel like I'm being rude or I'm being selfish or whatever. And I can just tell you, like, when you're a good leader and your team trusts you and they value you, they want to work hard for you. I can tell you, I am under an incredible, phenomenal leader who not only leads from the front, but she leads with her heart. She gives, she sees people. I was willing to work my butt off last month to help Kara go executive vice president. And I probably didn't even put a drop in the bucket, but I can speak on behalf of her entire organization. We were willing to do whatever it took to see her win because she gives back so much. And I need you to know when you're a good leader, your team wants to show up for you. They really do. Even if you're tough, even if you're strong, even if you're direct, my team might not always like me, but they love me and trust me. And if they don't, they can say otherwise, right? And I probably irritate them sometimes because I am a little weird, but I'm telling you, so it's important. Like your yellows want to know that they're needed. And so when you connect your yellows with like, hey, we can do this together, and you connect them to that community, it inspires them to want to show up. And then the greens, listen, greens don't give two hot farts about people. They're like, show me the money, show me the data, leave me alone. I love greens. But greens are driven by the data and the facts. And when you show people the resources, when you show your greens, hey, we've got resources for you. Here's Eloise. Here's the website. Here's the boards app. Here's Impact Nations. Here's the daily sip. When you connect them to their what's next, because gosh, greens are really, you guys are funny little creatures. And I love you so much, you little green beans. Your girl, not a green. Okay. I'm like, I don't know, like 7% green. I'm like negative 37% yellow. I'm sorry, I'm not giving you the shirt off my back. Gross. No, I'm just kidding. But you greens, okay, they just want to know what step one, two, three, four, five, six, and seven is. And I might not give you all seven steps, but I might give you three. Okay. And so when you connect the next steps to a green, they're more inspired to work. And so, but here's what I also want to tell you about this real quick before I move on, because man, we're cutting close to time. I got to wrap up. I'm still on point three. Oh my gosh. Me personally, Ashleigh Mayfield, as a human being, I'm a red blue. And when you take the color test, you are your top two colors. And I have a whole training on it. I can't go into it. I don't have time, but I'm a red blue. But imagine if I never grew in my leadership and I showed up to my organization only being a red blue, only being a red blue. And imagine I had sweet little Sarah Lapp. She's in my organization. She's phenomenal. And little sweetie pie is like yellow, green, green, yellow. And imagine if my red blue self was like, Sarah, we can do this. We're going to change lives. We're going to go talk to everybody. Let's go. No matter what you're doing, you're not going to eat. You're not going to sleep. You're not going to shower. You're not going to put deodorant on. You're not going to do anything. You're just going to run. Sarah would be like, whoa. And this is so crucial. Some of you that have really bold, passionate personalities, I need you to hear my heart. How you lead yourself needs to be different than how you lead your team. My team, I have to adjust. I need to adjust. And imagine if it was the opposite. Imagine if I had a red underneath me that really liked direction, but I was super yellow and I was like, oh, she's doing the wrong thing, but what if I tell her and she gets mad? Okay, I'm not going to tell her. I'm going to tell you right now as a red, I just sent this in a voice memo to a potential brand partner. I said it absolutely matters who you join. Because as a red, she's red too. I said, as a red, if I'm going left and you know I should be going right and you don't tell me, you don't care about me. If you prioritize what you think or assume I might think about you over my family's money, you don't care about me. This is so crucial, my friends. If you want a team that is producing and leaned in, that you learn both can be true. I can be as red blue when I look in the mirror to Ashleigh Mayfield, and I can have very direct conversation with myself, and I can hype myself up and be weird and goofy. I have a responsibility to put on a leadership hat when I present myself in front of my organization. And does that mean there won't be moments where Ashleigh Mayfield comes? Yes, and I'm very transparent. My team can tell you. I'll say, hey, I'm going to take my leadership hat off and I'm going to talk like Ashleigh Mayfield. Because sometimes these two people, they coexist. They coexist, and sometimes they oppose each other. Does that make sense? And you need to learn when to turn on the gas, when to pump the brake. You got to learn that stuff as a leader. And don't think for a second that this stuff doesn't matter. It very much matters. It matters in how your team shows up. Okay. And so, super important. What I can tell you though is as a leader, you want to make sure you incorporate a little bit of all this. And I just loved, we were having this conversation in the VP chat yesterday. You want to make sure that every month you're at least having some form of recognition. You can even break it down on a week level, but at least a month, right? You're having some form of recognition with your people. You want your reds to be driven. You need to recognize them. You want your reds to get pissed off and work. You need to recognize people and them not be on that board. Woo! That'll piss them off, right? And then they'll get working. You want to light your blues up, have some kind of contest to make it fun. Do a bingo card, do a raffle. And I want to say this, you might not be able to give away a $400 Gucci bracelet. You might not be able to give away a $100 perfume, but you can give away a $5 Starbucks gift card. It doesn't have to be elaborate. Okay. It just something is better than nothing. And so blues love giveaways. Blues love raffles. Okay. Yellows have that community. Provide that community for yellows. That's like an everyday thing, right? And then the greens, when you pour out wisdom, knowledge, you're giving them tactical advice, you're giving them strategy and plans and pointing them in the area of their resources. Greens really love that. And just being the leader that says, post this, do this, and you don't care about the people, you're eventually going to become a lid to your organization. And people, you might get far. You might be able to get far if you're good at tasks, but at some point you will be the lid because culture matters. Culture matters, leadership matters, and the likelihood of you duplicating your robotness nature, you're going to be finding a needle in a haystack. I was talking to an incredible leader yesterday. If she's on, she can say who she is. And I told her that I walked through a season where for every 10 yellows, I would get one red. And I just remember under my breath saying, God, why can't I get more yellows? And almost immediately in my spirit, the Lord's like, why can't you learn to lead yellows better? Okay. And so culture matters. Being a having an organization where you honor everybody and what drives them matters. I gotta rush through these last two. That was number three. Number four is mindset and accountability. And people will want to quit. You need to know that in your entire journey, people will want to quit. Okay. It's just going to happen. As a leader, you want to make sure that you learn. And I said this on stage at conference, your job as a leader is to learn how to turn light bulbs on. Your job is to connect people to their why. It's to show them the systems. It's to show them how simple this can be. Bravenly truly is simple. We complicate it. Amen. Your job is to turn light bulbs on, but your job is also to walk people off the ledge. Okay, your job is to walk people off the ledge. And I think that the more people that quit, that's how you get better at it. I can tell you the hardest part, if you draw a line in the sand, if you said, Ashleigh, what's the number one thing you hate about leadership? It breaks my heart. I love leadership so much. It runs through my veins. The hardest part ever about leadership, you guys, and it makes me so emotional to say it, is you learn at the expense of people. God, that sucks. It sucks that you get good. And I'm a great leader now because I was really bad when I started. And if I could go back and undo things I did and undo things I said and undo how I acted, I would, but I can't. And this isn't a game to me. I feel so innately responsible for the people who trust me. What an honor it is that Brittany Harper would trust me with this platform. I don't take that lightly. You have a responsibility when it comes to your people. If you are not growing, if you are not growing your mindset, my God, how are you going to get a team? How are you going to handle the days when everybody wants to quit? How are you going to handle the days when someone's dog dies or someone's husband dies? Let me start telling you real situations I've walked through. When you have one of your closest friend whose husband dies, how are you going to lead someone through that? When you have a friend that you have quickly grown to love who has a son who tomorrow morning could be walking through brain surgery. Tomorrow, August 15th, you better grow your mindset. You better grow your mindset. When you have a friend who's walking through her mother potentially passing, you better be a strong leader because leadership comes with a price. And it's a lot of fun to open up those checks. And it's a lot of fun to have your team pay off debt. And it's a lot of fun to be there in the celebratory moments when they didn't think they could do it. But my God, you better have big shoulders when life happens because it's how you walk through that process. It's how you say, I love you more than the business. I care about you more than the money. It will expose you. Have you ever been under a leader that you were like, they only care that I didn't show up to Zoom. They only care that I didn't rank up. I've seen them. I've worked with them. It is crazy. Okay. And so, sorry, this stuff makes me like super freaking passionate because, people want to say, just give them tasks, just make them work 75,000 hours a day. You guys, this business, growth, success, pursuing the will of God People say it's 80% mindset. I dare to say it's 95% mindset. I dare to say. And I bet every single one of these sisters could lap me on that. They might even say it's 99%. Okay. And I'm telling you, if you are a leader that lacks self-awareness and you lack drive, you will make your road harder. You will make your road harder. Your job as a leader is to grow. And if you are not growing, you are dying. You are dying. That's like a universal law. Things in life, if they're not growing, they are dying. Okay. And so it's so crucial that you understand that your team, when you're growing on a human level, everything around you gets the overflow of who you are. I can call people higher because I call myself higher. I don't practice what I preach. We've heard that phrase for years. Drop a yes in the chat if you ever heard that phrase. Practice what you preach. Practice what it is not practice what you preach. That's saying one thing and doing another. My life, it is easy for me to come on here and talk to you guys this way because I preach what I practice. This is who Ashleigh Mayfield is. Unless you were in Orlando, where I swear to God, I transformed into a minion. Okay. All I thought was these people are like, this is not the Ashleigh Mayfield from the Boom Zoom. Me and Carol just talk like minion. Hello. The entire time. Okay. I swear, like that's not, I just needed to let loose a little. Okay. But I just preach what it is that I practice. So I don't have to suffer with imposter syndrome. Now, hear me. Everybody has imposter syndrome. But why do some people it paralyzes them and others don't? Because I'm not pretending to be somebody I'm not. Okay. When I conquer a hurdle, I tell it to my team. When I figure something out on social media, I share it with my team. When I'm walking through something in life and I learned a lesson, I share it with my team. The people around me get the overflow of who Ashleigh Mayfield is developing to be. Okay. And so I think it's really good to look at reports, and we need to look at reports, right? But looking at reports will only take you to so far if you're not humanizing a business that is about humans. We're in the human business. We're in the people business. Okay. And so your job is to drive sales. Your job is actually to drive people. You need to learn, isn't that leadership? That's leadership, is influence, right? And so when you have a strong mindset and you learn perseverance and you learn how to push through, then other people will too. You'll have a team of that, right? And so I want to encourage you, be the leader that leads from the front. I can hold people accountable because I'm qualifying for stuff, because my name is being shouted out. And there's levels to this game, okay? Once you reach up to higher levels, you're not always leading from the front. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. Sometimes you're investing your time in developing people. And so there's no condemnation, there's shame to this. But when I'm saying this, I'm speaking to more of those entry level leaders, okay? Higher level conversations for another day. But be the leader who leads from the front. You want a team that works? Well, it's hard to argue with a leader that's showing up and leading from the front. Use facts over feelings, right? When we're talking about accountability with your team, you can have someone that's like, well, I'm trying so hard. Okay, I get that. But babe, why does your social media, you posted on April 2nd and that's the only day you post it? How are you trying hard? You don't even have any like repeat orders this month. Help me understand what trying hard looks like to you. And then you start asking questions. And I think another thing with accountability, it's so important. If you want a team that's working, you have to hold them accountable. When you have a tough conversation with someone, you never leave them where you found them. You don't just say, okay, well, you're not working, so get it together and work, or I'm not talking to you. No, no, no. We say, hey, girl, I totally see, I can hear you that you want it, but here's the thing. Can I be your leader for a second? Because you're actually showing me that you might not want it. You're not leaned in the community chat. You're not on Zoom. The last time you posted was April 2nd. You don't have any repeat orders. We're almost halfway through the month. So help me understand what your trying hard means. And let's try to find ways that we can actually track what it is that you're doing, right? You never leave them where you found them. Be the leader that is like aware of their organization. Do you have someone that's not leaned in that you're like, wait a second, where is that person at? They haven't like opened up the chat. They haven't posted. Be the leader that sees people. That matters, right? Notice if someone is spamming their own wall with videos and then they're complaining they don't have any sales. Well, babe, you're sharing every TikTok video you see and every cat meme, and why it's cute. I love it. You can save that in a collection. You don't have to put it on your wall, right? And so I'm just going to say this before I say the last thing, and we're wrapping this up, is a lot of times when I have other leaders, even in my previous company, in other organizations, reach out, they're like, Ashleigh, how do you separate the friend and the leader? How do you, I don't want to be too bossy. I don't want people to be mad at me. Has anybody said that? Drop a me in the chat, okay? Because I know I thought that at one point, like, oh, I don't want to hurt their feelings. I don't want to be bossy. I don't want to come across mean. I do care about perception. And so it doesn't paralyze me, but the people I respect, I care how they perceive me, right? I want to be someone that is strong and reliable, and it matters to me. So this is what I would say. If you are worried, this is what I came down to many, many years ago, and it saved my mindset. People are going to think one of two things. If first of all, if someone's going to quit on you, my friend, they're going to quit, okay? But people are going to think one of two things. I would, and this is what I want to say. I would rather someone picks up the phone and calls you and says, "Don't join Ashleigh Mayfield. She was too bossy. She was too passionate. She cared too much. She messaged me every single day. She was on me like white on rice. Don't join that girl. She's crazy. She's over the moon about goals. Don't do it." I would rather someone say that than someone pick up the phone and call you and say, "My God, don't join Ashleigh Mayfield. I joined her and I never heard from her again." They're going to talk about you. I would rather them say I'm crazy because I'm all in, right? So give people a reason to talk about. And if someone thinks like you're too bossy or too much, you can slow down and match their pace. I've had to apologize many times. Hey, I'm so sorry. Maybe they only want to be a level two. You cannot make a level two become a level 10. You can meet them at a level two and help them to go to level three, and then four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10, right? But you can't take a two and force them to be a 10 if they don't want to. So I will love you at a 10, but if you're giving me a two, baby, I'm going to meet you at a two. But I would rather be labeled bossy than nothing. Okay. That's mindset and accountability. And the last thing I just want to say real quick, 60 seconds, is culture matters. Who you are, it absolutely matters to having a team that's leaned in and working. It really does. Whether people like you or not, it matters. And trust to me is more important than likability, because if you're leading effectively, people aren't always going to like you, but my God, they should trust you, right? It's not easy hearing that you're doing something wrong or that you need to correct. Like, that's not fun conversation to have. And sometimes it upsets people, but they're going to trust you, right? And so be the leader that does encourage action, be the leader that honors effort. And that's really hard for some personalities, but effort turns into action. How do you think you get action? By effort. And so don't just be the person that's only honoring the ones crossing the finish line. See the effort, right? Be the leader that sees when people aren't connected. Be the leader that gives recognition. Be the leader that gives grace. Be the leader that gives grace. Just because you can walk through tragedy and not skip a beat, not everybody's wired that way. And I just want to end with this. This is something that I'm learning more and more in my life. This has freed me from feeling guilt or shame. People are not ours. People are the Lord's. People are for Jesus. Okay. People come, people go. Stop taking it personal. Stop being offended all the time that everybody's quitting your team. And just realize that whether they're with you for a moment, a season, or a lifetime. I used to tell people whether you're with me 3 months, 3 years, or a lifetime, my goal is just to help you be better. I just want to help you be a better human at the end of the day. And when you focus on the impact, the money will always follow. The income always follows the impact, you guys. It's not about how fast you can get someplace. Fast builds fall apart fast. That's a biblical truth, right? But people are not yours, they're the Lord's. And your responsibility is to be a good steward with them while they're in your leadership. All right. So that's my Zoom for tonight, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I know that we went over time. I'm sorry. I am a yapper. I try not to be, but I would love to open it up for some Q&A. If you do have to hop off,